Good morning, YouTube. I have returned shortly for a patch note coverage. So Hades 2 still in early access for probably a while now, or will be for a while now. Still getting updates every so often here. So, patch 2. Now, last patch I still have beefs with, but this patch I have no strong opinions here. So, spoiler warning, I will be showing all the spoilers. So, we've got some general gameplay changes. So, the cat familiar will be closer to you in general, as well as in the area that is just absolutely massive. Some rewards are going to be increased in secondary areas, such as Oceanus and the Rift of Thessaly. Some invulnerability duration after you activate your Death Defiance. This is going to be a nice little feature. I've definitely had a Death Defiance go off and then almost immediately been hit by a couple things. So just a little bit of invulnerability goes a long way on that. You'll more likely find one more boon or a major reward in Erebus, which that's actually pretty nice again. A major reward can include health, magic, a boon, a hammer, all those kind of things. It just means not gold or ash or psyche and stuff like that. Nemesis no longer offers Death Defiance if you do not needed the refill. That would make sense. Surprised that wasn't the case already. Selene's boon is cheaper in the shop. I have some mixed opinions on Selene in general. I feel like you have to kind of go all in on finding her stuff with the Path of Stars and how it is, or leave it at level 1. I feel like there's kind of a value in going really hard into it, or just kind of taking it and using it as you need it, but not kind of a middle ground. I feel like it's kind of almost a waste at the middle ground level. A lot of the time, anyway. Order of Olympians showing up, change, that'll be good, and some normalized finding of fishing points. So the last patch, they did change a lot of stuff about how resources are shown. A lot of it was, in my opinion, very psychological, where they just removed them from the run, but they didn't really increase anything per se. So that was kind of a beef of mine. I know that a few of my friends have purchased this game in early access as well, and are having similar opinions to me on the resource grind being a little extra. Just a little too much. We all have in double-digit hours, 20, 30 something hours, and we're still struggling to have some of the very basic stuff unlocked. If you're going down one path to get Psyche, you're not getting, say, fish, but fish aren't necessarily that important. So you're really focused on some of your metals or your seeds, things like that. And I really think that they can lean into the pets, like Tula allows you to fish more often. I think that they could lean into some of that more directly for some hard double down extra farming kind of focus, which seems like what they were originally going for. But anyways, moving on. Nocturnal arms and abilities. So the staff now has some knockaway, but is a little bit slower, and the special is a little bit faster. I don't know if that is the movement speed of the orb or if that is the charge up. I haven't tested any of this. This came out yesterday. And I did a run yesterday right before this dropped. Sister Blade's special staggers standard foes longer. I think that is a very good change. I have mixed opinions on the blades. I love them when you get like a Daedalus hammer. They're really good if you can get like right behind someone with Millennium's aspect and the backstab damage. But by themselves, they just feel like a really bad long-range attack. So I'm not sure how I feel about that. Whereas the Witch's Staff, I feel like the special is actually, it feels spammable, it feels clean. The Sister Blades feel like they're very focused on the charge up more so than the individual attack, unless you get a hammer upgrade. Yeah. Anyways, Umbral Flames. Attacks are stronger and faster. I know a lot of people found this to be an extremely weird weapon. It is a weird weapon. The special spins around you, attacks kind of float forward. So the Omega attack channel's faster and uses less magic. I'd have to test that to see if that feels any better. Special gives a speed boost, but has reduced damage. Okay, Omega special can be channeled while moving. That's intriguing. I'll see how that feels. Moonstone Axe, rework special, providing a lingering barrier. Okay, yeah, absolutely. There was this weirdness to the Moonstone Axe where if you just tap the button, you get this barrier from the front, like a shield. I think you're just completely impervious from the front. But if you're channeling the Omega, it would finish the shield effect and then have a pause and then a release. So I haven't tested this or anything, but my guess is that this barrier lingers so that the Omega attack can finish. Because, you know, the Omega special channels faster and the Omega attack channels slightly faster. And yeah, so that's probably what that's all about. I would love to see this. It has an aspect, I think it's the Millennium aspect as well, which has a reduced like wind down and I would love to see it have maybe an aspect that just gives it straight up attack speed. Because right now the wind down, I think I have it close to max or fully maxed, and it doesn't feel that much different. So while these channel faster, I'm not sure if that helps the wind down in any way feel better. You know, if you're investing in a weapon, I would hope that the feel of the weapon is pretty good after investment. Argent Skull, Omega attack channels faster and hits a larger area. Yeah, that should probably feel good too. I didn't use the Omega attack all that much, although I did use the dash on the skull a lot to, you know, pick up skull ammo, stuff like that. So aspects of Nocturnal Arms, adjusted activation of duration of Serenity effect. I'd have to play with that to even understand further what that does. I've never used the Serenity. I think that gives like magic regeneration and some attack speed or channel speed, something like that. Witch's Staff reworked. Each of your Omega moves automatically fires several times in succession. That's cool. I like that. Sister Blades, Artemis, when you block again, if the effect recharges while you are channeling, block now takes priority over dodge and similar effects. Okay, this sounds like just a kind of quality of life order of effect thing. Umbral Flames. Now Flyer is a slow shot that occasionally creates damage blast and also copies your specials. Interesting. I've only used the Umbral Flames 2 or 3 times for a run. They feel really awkward to use, and I end up paying more attention to where the ammo is going, the projectile is going, and not my feet, and I end up running into things and dying. So, personal skill issue, but still, I'll have to see how this plays out. Oh, here we go. The Millennium aspect of the axe now adds power and max life. They got rid of the thing that I was just complaining about. Well, there you go. That's what I get for not reading the patch notes first. So power and life, this will be interesting. And then Thanatos rework. Faster attack adds critical chance. These two different, I'm guessing that these are two different thoughts. It has faster attack and adds critical to Omega moves. Maybe just throw an and in there, make that clear. But anyways, yeah, so that sounds like that actually would be exactly what I want, a faster attack. Argent Skull, improved hit detection on foes near impassable obstacles. Now, Glory much faster, but only by using your Omega cast. Improved core and control responsiveness during Omega special. I've never used this aspect, so I'm not sure what the glory does there. Sorry for being unknowledgeable. Keepsakes, Moonbeam of Selene. Selene? Yeah, I can't pronounce things right now. That sounds wrong. Increased bonus to Path of Stars upgrades. So this means that you're probably getting +1 level when you're wearing this keepsake. So instead of going to plus like 3 or 4 or whatever it is, it's going to be like 4 or 5. So again, I was just talking about this. It feels like if you're going for her hexes, you either go all in or you just take the base value and not a lot of in between for its power level, because it feels like you're losing power elsewhere when you do that, because you do need multiple pickups of her upgrades. So this will allow you to, if you do want to double down, you double down harder. You get more upgrades per pickup, and I do run this keepsake. So as soon as I pick up something that I like from her, I do typically run this for the next area or two, just to see if I can max out the Path of Stars. So Daedalus Hammer upgrades, I don't know what half of these did to begin with. I think this one was just double hit. I really liked that one. Looks like it's going to be double damage now, probably, or something close to it. Or this. All your attacks hit twice, but you take more damage. There you go. That's an interesting one. I like that. As long as the damage is not just raw doubled, because that I don't know. Feels pretty bad. You have very limited health and healing and stuff, so you have to be pretty good God gamer or whatnot. But we'll see how the numbers on that. My guess is it's like 30 or 50% more damage, which is probably fair. If you're doing double damage, you take 50% more damage. Not quite the same. It's got to be worth picking up, in my opinion, And if it's got too much of a negative, the more average gamer is probably not gonna enjoy the value out of it. Let's see here. Rapid Moonshot also affects Omega Special. Cool. Double Moonshot also affects Omega Special. Again. Looks like a lot of these just didn't affect the Omegas. Increased magic restoration with power shots. Interesting. Oh, yeah, I do think I remember this one. Let's see here. Melting Dart. New. Special destroys a large percentage of a foe's armor. Hey, there we go. So this makes, like I said, the dagger blades, the special throwing knife feels kind of bad unless you have a hammer upgrade. This just justifies my opinion further, because it doesn't feel like it does a whole lot of damage. At least it staggers now for a little bit longer for the above change, but your dash strike also fires several special knives in a fan pattern. So you're still relying on the hammer to make the throwing knife actually kind of valuable. And I'll be honest, I think the staff's special is faster and might even do the same amount of damage. So let's see here. Hook knives, slightly reduced speed returning to you. Remove damage bonus. Aw. I think this is the one that did backstab damage. So now you were probably going to rely on the aspect to get the backstab damage. Mega Spark, all your attacks travel farther and deal more damage. Inverted Spark, dash makes shots from attacks reverse direction. Okay, that could be cool. I can see this being pretty fun. You attack forward, dash through both the enemy and the flame. It then reverses direction, hits enemies again. And if you have some kind of dash ability, you're probably triggering that as well. Like Poseidon's knockback or Demeter's ice vortex. Leaden Spark, your attacks knock foes away and have bonus power. Sounds good. Increase movement speed and instead of reducing... Oh, Sustained Spark also increases movement speed instead of reducing movement speed, formerly Sustained Fire. No longer fires straight, also affects Omega Special. Formerly Melting Comet. So I don't know what a lot of these did. They just say like removed and changed, but they explain the new ones, but they don't explain the old ones. So I'm I'm sorry, I don't have that information at my fingertips at the moment. Reworked to also affect Omega attack. So that's another one. Remove 2-stage channeling. It always double fires, but uses more magic. Okay, I do remember this one, I think. Or something similar to it, where you'd charge it up to like 15, and then you'd have to charge it up again, which costs like 45. So this is removing that 2-stage channeling. I don't know if it's the one I remember or if it's a different one, but always double fires and uses more magic. So that'll be... I think that's fair. You're just removing the timer, but you're using the same amount of... or whatever. Maybe it uses more magic than before, or it always used more magic. I'm not sure the wording on this. Dashing Heave removes damage bonus. Instead, it hits twice. That's helpful for the axe because a lot of the bonuses on the axe kind of feel bad because, like, Scorch and Blitz and stuff, a lot of those feel really good when you can kind of hit twice, especially if there's like a couple enemies right next to each other. Slightly long crash, cut from game, replaced with your specials travel farther and deal more damage. Okay. And I would hope this also affects the Omega special, as that is what they've been doing to a lot of these. Colossus Skull also affects Omega special. I don't remember if I've even seen this. I have not seen all the hammer upgrades on all the weapons, that's for sure. Hexes, a lot of these are magic spend requirement, reduced. Okay. Reduced foes afflicted. I think this one is the one that turns everybody into sheep. So it doesn't affect as many enemies, but it has a reduced cast time, so it's quicker. Night Bloom. I'm not sure which one that is. This one is the giant laser beam, I think. This is the healing one. Slightly reduced healing. Oof. And slightly increased magic spend requirement. Mega oof. Well, to be fair, I was using that one a lot, and it is a game about your maintenance of health and resources here. So if you can heal, then especially with the upgrade to the trinket, this means that you can probably get a lot of this back, the healing. You know, if you're going from, say, 50 healing to 40 healing, you can probably get that with like one level of the Path of Stars or something. And this one has a pretty good Path of Stars as well, where every time you use it, you also can get like impervious for 2 or 3 seconds after you heal. So this one's pretty good still, probably, even with the increased requirement and reduced healing. And these might be just more standardized. Like maybe this one only maybe this one only cost 80, while this one was costing 100 or something. And so maybe they're more standardized towards like 80 and 90 or something. Dark Side, slightly increased magic spend and slightly reduced cast time. So just kind of triggers a little faster. Not sure which one that is. Maybe one of these is the one where you transform into kind of a impervious monster, basically. Just throwing stuff out. Some foes and encounter changes. Polyphemus, reduced effectiveness of mutant sheep, so he can pick up sheep and eat them and go crazy and do stuff. So I guess that's one of those moves. And then grenade attacks no longer wildly bounce around. So Eris is one of those bosses where you're probably doing it either really well or really poorly. A lot of her attacks are extremely dodgeable, specifically the grenade attacks and stuff. But then she does, like 400% damage in her final phase or 500% damage in her final phase. So you don't want to get hit. So this probably just makes it a little bit more consistent. Probably, again, more consistent attack patterns. And then various fixes and adjustments unstated there. But it specifically covers the case where he is just straight up unfair. And I will say Kronos has this weird situation where Kronos feels a lot like Hades in the sense that he is definitely a final boss. But every time I've come to Kronos, I have to be pretty stacked to be able to do just enough damage to beat him, personally. A lot of Scorch or Hephaestus explosions or Hermes projectile slowing, or even Hades boon, special boon, which is the one specifically that I find the best is when it reduces minions by 50% in the combat, which decreases his flags. It decreases his second phase where he summons the time warps, the time warp enemies that when they die they turn into a little chronosphere time warp thing. Some other stuff in here, mostly just kind of cleaning up some enemies. Reduced rotation speed, increased rotation speed, increased life and elite armor, buff some of the mini bosses here. This is the mini boss. Level design, and then some of the other stuff. So this is just so that you don't have to get a very rare thing from Chaos to finish this minor prophecy. Decrease the difficulty on some of the Chaos trials. And this one specifically, I'm going to jump back up here. The oil spills are a little bit easier to deal with. They're adjusted in location, and they will extinguish after the encounter. If there's a barrel, though, they can be reignited. So, and driftwood has been increased further. So driftwood is like probably one of the rarer resources in the entire game. It only spawns in the Rift of Thessaly, and in my experience, you kind of either get one or you don't. And that's pretty much how I feel about it. And it's a lot of the time it's just you don't. You don't need a whole lot of it, but it's one of those resources where maybe they would have been better off going with something that has, like silver, has like 3 stacks or 2 stacks or something like that instead of a single stack. More granularity to the balance. Right now, of course, naturally, it's going to be just a percentage chance to appear. So you can have a lot of players be just straight unlucky instead of being, you have 3 and you need 2 and then you need 2 more. You might have 1 and then just not find 1 more for a while. So just more granularity on that might have been a better idea. I have no idea. That's just a thought from my design, limited design experience. That granularity can lead to some cleaner randomization properties. The rest of this is just kind of some menus and UI stuff. You can now see your offerings when you're checking the list in the Book of Shadows. Or you can check each Olympian's list of offerings in the Book of Shadows while choosing boons. There we go. Had to read the whole sentence. Added many UI icons for keepsakes, weapons, and Well of Charon offerings and more. So a lot of this was just placeholder stuff. Like everything was just like a golden ring for keepsakes. So I haven't seen that yet. Maybe I can show it real quick here. And then some of the other stuff. Will of Fates will no longer be offered if you don't have a Daedalus hammer, some art and visual stuff. And then a bunch of bug fixes. So looks like they're doing pretty good. And then we can jump over to game capture here. There we go. Cool. It loaded right in. So let's see here. So we've got some icons for the different weapons. Cool. Still think this menu probably can be cleaned up a bit. There's just a lot going on here. But let's go over here. Yeah, there we go. Looks like all of them have icons now. So we've got the Chaos one. I don't even remember where some of these are from. I think this is from... Yeah, from Narcissus, it says right there. That's hard to read. Silken Sash. And what is this hitbox? What is this hover box? It's right in the center of the box. It's not the whole thing. Don't like that. Anyways. Lucky Tooth. Ghost Onion. Evil Eye. Engraved Pin. Where's my Knuckles? One of these is Knuckles, right? Yeah, there we go. Moonbeam. So now it gives 5 upgrades instead of 4. So that's pretty good. A lot better, to say the least. That one's pretty good, too. I'm not sure what upgrades after this. I haven't upgraded this one yet, so I don't know what upgrades when you level it up. If it lasts for more Guardians or if it activates more cards. Not sure which would be more preferred. Probably more powerful if it was more cards, but kind of results in a better value out of the Guardians because you can use it 3 times. But anyways, so some different things there. Just pretty pictures. Cool. And I'll cut this off right here. So that is all for this early access patch note review. Seems pretty good to me. No direct complaints other than the complaints I had on the previous patch, which are more resource-oriented issues of order of acquisition, time of consumption and use within the hub, and then just kind of number of grind, how many times you have to go through. It to clarify my opinion on the grind thing, it feels bad when you're trying to grind for what feels like early game resources when you're 30 hours or 35 hours in. Whereas if you're grinding for, say, the aspect upgrades on the weapons, I'm okay with that personally. Like, that's not so much my issue. You're grinding for, like, a boss resource or something like that. But when you're just trying to get another plot of ground to plant seeds, or if you're trying to get the fishing node or some other stuff in town, that feels a little bit it's very non-linear. It feels kind of out of order. I'm sure they'll clean it up. I have faith in Supergiant. I own all of their games. I have loved all of their games. Some more than others, of course. But those are my complaints with the resource thing. I don't have any of those complaints on this patch. This patch looks pretty good. It looks like a lot of the aspects are cleaned up. A lot of the hammers are cleaned up. And hopefully... And because I haven't experienced the hammers, I don't have strong opinions on them either. So maybe I'll have strong opinions in the future. But overall, it looks like a really good patch. So dive in if you have the game, or just subscribe and keep up to date with me overviewing these patches if you want. Either way, have a great day.